No, I got one. Thank you.
All right, the meeting will come to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Thank you. Let's please read our mission statement together. To unconditionally nurture our students to be successful, proud, and prepared for God. Donna, roll call, please.
Here.
Here.
Tori Beakner.
Here.
Jay Davis.
Here.
Kathy Henry. Here. Larry Jameson.
Here.
James Parker.
Here.
Gary Sproul.
Here.
Thank you, Donna. Item 5, resolution to adopt the minutes from the May 19 meeting. Do I have a motion to adopt? Gary, the motion. Do I have a second? Kathy, second. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion passed. Item 6, review and approval of the April and May General Fund Treasurers Report. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Joe, or Gary, was that you? Second. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion passed. Item 7, review and approval of the April and May activities account report. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We'll give Kathy the motion and Joe the second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Signed, the ayes have it. Motion passed. Item 8, review and approval of the April and May school lunch account reports. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Joe, thank you.
Second.
Kathy, second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion passed. There are no budget transfers. Item 10, approval of the May general fund bill schedule. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you, Gary, or Joe with the second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Motion passed. Item 11, communications, intermediate unit. I believe that's Rebecca, is that right?
No report tonight, excuse me, although I know they are having their monthly meeting tonight as well, so I'm unfortunately unable to be there.
Thank you. Clarion County Career Center Representative Joe.
No report.
Thank you. Legislative report. Gary.
That's
I can hear me.
okay. There's quite a bit of stuff. The state budget, of course, is not going anywhere. Charter schools is still in limbo. On public meetings, it will require us to, besides the 24 hours before the voting meeting, to make sure it is made available to the public. But there is an exception with Senate Bill 554 if there are emergency situations, as long as there is a majority vote of the board members present and voting to make changes in this. So that is something that's on the table. Also, for bids, if I can find it here, that there's also, I can find it because I have so much. Okay. It's a House Bill 1170 that if there are no bids that are received, that we're wanting to purchase something or have something done, we have to put it out for bid again for another 15 days. If there are still no bids, and then that government body will have the right, as long as there is no disqualifying things by law against any other agency that we could go out and select to purchase our goods through whoever we want. And also, student teachers will be able to be used for substitute work as long as they have 60 credits. That has been approved by Senate Bill 618, is now going on to the House. That's it.
Gary, I had a question actually. We got, I believe the whole board got, some feedback from constituents on critical race theory. And they were questioning it. My understanding is, I haven't seen anything about that, but I've heard that there's talk in the legislature about bills to address it. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, the Republican state legislature leadership is planning down the road to ban any teaching of critical race theory within any subject matters within the schools.
Okay,
And also Project 1619.
so it's something that is on the radar and
It's on the radar, but local districts are doing their own thing to stop it from happening.
I know people had asked, so that's the response for the people who have asked about that. Thank you, Gary. Item D, the CLAEA representative. Rhonda.
Good evening. It was encouraging to our association to see the music position posting for the K-12 music educator, and we anticipate moving forward with hiring. So thank you for posting that position. That is super important, and I think that speaks to the students' comments that you heard at last month's meeting. So thank you. Many of our members have worked through summer school and still happening at this time. And a lot of our members also use other employment during the summer, so they are busy during the summer, but we are also thankful the summer gives us a chance for rest and rejuvenation on the heels of a very demanding school year. So we will be ready for the challenges of next year. And we're also looking forward to working together for our friend Caleb Kiefer at the benefit events that are scheduled for July. So thanks.
Thank you, Rhonda. Building committee, Dave.
I'd like to refer Bob Coleman. Can you come down? Bob met with, I gave you the microphone.
Wait,
Bob-
we gotta have a microphone.
Yeah.
Rebecca, that's your job.
Yeah.
Bob had an opportunity to meet with Eric and Brian, and they did some walkthroughs. We're actually in the building committee ourselves are not meeting till sometime in August, but Bob had that opportunity, and I'd like to go see what he had to say about it.
Of course, Dave, we walked through the building, we had a good meeting. Came to conclusions what we did or do not have to do. Of course, they're gonna bring all their conclusions back to the school board. That's what we're doing. Some ideas.
And you and Andy had some good ideas also from the building.
Oh, sure.
Depends what the needs are.
That's exactly right.
And I just want to add that Bob is very knowledgeable of everything in the district, and we're very thankful that we have you. And as we begin teaching Andy some of those things as well. Andy had a great idea, but I was very impressed after the meeting about what all you know. So I thanked him then, and I wanted to thank him personally for that as well.
Well, thank you, Amy, that's great.
Thank you, Bob.
Anything else?
I think you're good.
That's good.
Good, Dave. Okay, moving down the line to Rebecca, Finance Committee. You should make Dave fix it.
Okay, no specific reports. We have not had any meetings since our last board meeting, but we do have the vote tonight to approve our final budget. So we will, I'm sure we will have a little bit of discussion at that time.
Good.
Thank you.
Transportation Committee. Amy?
Yes, we have not met again since the last board meeting as a transportation committee. However, Chris Wolf, the transportation director, and I are going to begin to look. We have a new software system, TransFinder, and we're going to take a couple of the bus runs, maybe just one at first, and just see if it's going to be beneficial possibly to go to a one-tier bus run, because that's what we want to do. We want to investigate it all, and if it isn't, it's not going to happen. So we're going to start small and get some things going and see where we're going before we put too much effort into it if it's not what is needed here at CL.
Thank you, Amy. Stephanie, business manager's report.
Okay, that's weird. I don't have a lot to say. I just want to say, it's a busy time of year. We're closing out one year and doing the budget for a new year, so lots of intertwining of 2 years. But I do want to say that we have been reaching out to our vendors regarding Caleb Kiefer and the wonderful fundraiser. We've had a lot of goodwill from our vendors, and they've been real receptive and been donating a lot, and have reached out with their prayers and thoughts for the family, and just done a really good job. And everybody in the district I know is reaching out, and the administration and Bob, everybody's doing their part. So I just want to thank everybody. I definitely see the good things that are coming into the district, and I think that's going to be a wonderful event. So other than that, if there's any questions during the budget, I will answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. All right, Amy, superintendent, administrative team reports. Why don't you lead us off?
All right. I'd like to congratulate Tracy Johnston. I didn't know she was going to be here tonight, but she won the Leading with Heart Award in our school district. And the award reflects her school community's passion for and generosity during this past year's Kids Heart Challenge event. And her students at the elementary school raised $409.56 to help fund life-saving research, advocacy, and education. And I know that Tracy does that every year, and she has earned that award, so I want to thank her for that, and the students for being a part of that great program. Many people are asking about the elementary principal position. Mrs. Taylor is our principal until June 30th. After that, starting July 1, I will step into that role as well, not for long, and basically I will be that ear and that help if the elementary is in need of that during the summer. I've been visiting the elementary summer program, and will continue to work in that capacity. It is our intention that there will be someone in place hired as an elementary principal before school starts. The process right now is still with the administration. That's Mr. Aaron, myself, and Mr. Edmonds. We are looking at a couple of candidates we've interviewed, and we are going to be asking them to do some other tasks for us along the way. And if we feel that's a good fit, we're really looking for that fit factor, the person that will work well in our district. And if those people that we're looking at is one of them, then we will prepare for the board to interview as well. And if not, if you see a re-advertisement, it's not because maybe the ones we're looking at aren't maybe going to be that person, but we just want to be sure that it's what our kids, our teachers, and our district need for our future going forward. I do want to mention one last thing about school year 21-22, because I know already. I will tell you, I will reiterate what Mrs. Shook said. I have been, and I've seen the staff and the custodians really enjoying this summer. It's been very busy but productive is what we feel. Last summer was just the unknown, the unknown, the unknown. So to add to that, what I'm saying, why I brought that up is everyone wants to know about 21-22, especially parents in the process of where we're going. And I am proposing and leading the way that our school year will begin with 2 options. One is 5-day in-person learning. We are going to be here all 5 days. We're going to all be here in person. If there are circumstances that there are already some students at the high school that are in our cyber program, that will continue. That's been worked very well for 3 years. That will continue, that nothing's changing there. Our elementary cyber program, there is a possibility that we will begin that program if needed. There is no remote learning option at the beginning of the school year. It's time we get back to normal. We anticipate many schools are wanting to do that. The teachers want to do that. The students want to do that. If there are specific concerns due to the pandemic, that will be addressed with the building principals, and we will look at options such as possibly homeschooling, or even we can make some arrangements, but the remote learning is not a choice. There's not going to be a survey out there for you to say, I want remote learning or I don't. The other item that I want to just clarify is we've talked many times about our computers, and our students are going to be having their own computer, school computer this year. And one of the items that is going to happen is we're looking at different personnel in the district, and I'm looking at utilizing someone to be that technology integrator to help the teachers and the students to do that one-on-one using our computers in the classroom. So for example, a reading lesson may be with their Chromebooks right in front of them, the teacher showing it on the screen, but then they do their activity right on the Chromebook. The teacher immediately gets the response, and in math class, they put their Chromebooks away and they have math class. But we want to continue to develop that computer technology for the future, because that's where it is. And it will also allow us, if we have a snow day, if we are approved for FIDS, which I've applied for with the help of a lot of staff, we would be able to use our computers that way as well for our lessons. So that's pretty much everything. The last thing is Mr. Kiefer. Our prayers, our thoughts every day are with him and his family. A beautiful flyer picture that has gone around. And it is, I just wanted to share, everybody's talking about it, is July 10th. It's a Saturday, and it begins at 3 o'clock. And for the spaghetti dinner, 3 to 5:30, there'll also be music in the gymnasium from 3 to 6. And then we're going to have a live auction at 6. Along with a silent auction as well, a Chinese auction. So there are many, many wonderful things. In fact, one of the custodians today said to me, I told my husband I'm going to have to get a second job because I'm going to that auction for Mr. Kiefer, and I want a lot of that stuff. It looks all great, and there's just fantastic items there. So we're very excited to be able to help as a district, as a whole, for that event and to help him. I am done.
I'd like to add something to that, Nathaniel. It's funny because one of the teachers was doing the letter and for the donations, and she said, how do I sign the letter? And I said, what about the CL family? Because that's what it's all about, and that's what we're working together on.
I agree, Dave. Thank you. Amy, that's any other administrators or? Sounds good. Okay, next item, 13, executive session announcement. There was an executive session on June 2nd to discuss a personnel issue. And then we had an executive session earlier this evening, June 23rd. There was a personnel issue discussed, and there was a school safety issues discussed. Item 14, public comment. Is there anyone wishing to make public comment? Okay, would you guys go ahead?
Hello, my name is Maya Shook, and I'm an upcoming senior here at Clarion-Limestone this year. I just wanted to take a brief minute to thank the administration and the school board for deciding to post Mrs. Bennett's position in the music department. It's really refreshing to hear, as the students and the student body, that you took into careful consideration to post that position, because it will mean classes like the ukulele and guitar electives, and also hopefully the dance team, will be returning next year and be able to be encouraged and taught how they really needed to be taught. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tori Beakner, and I am also an upcoming senior this year. And I just wanted to thank you guys as well. I wanted to thank the board and the administration for taking what the students and the families of the students had to say into consideration, and ultimately deciding to post Mrs. Bennett's position, because like Maya said, all of those classes, the students will have them now, and they'll be able to grow within the music department. So on behalf of the student body, I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, moving on to old business. There is no old business. New business. Item A. After the last meeting had occurred, I received a letter of resignation in my capacity as the school board president from Roger Powell. I'd like to recognize Roger's service. Roger is a small business owner, and he committed 3.5 years away from his business to take time to get back to his school, and he feels the need to refocus on his business, and I respect that, and I wanted to acknowledge his service and thank him for what he did for the school and his time commitment. I would also ask if there's a motion to accept or approve his resignation.
So moved.
A motion from Joe. Do I have a second? Second from Kathy. Any further discussion? Comment anyone would like to make? Not hearing any. Donna, roll call vote, please.
Rebecca Allison? Yes. Joe Balot?
Yes.
Tori Bish?
Yes.
Dave Eggleton?
Yes.
Kathy Henry? Yes. Larry Jamison?
Yes.
Daniel Parker?
Yes.
Gary Sproul?
Yes.
Item B is a proposal to appoint Brian Fuar in the position created by Roger's resignation. Brian is on the ballot, as I understand it. Brian is unopposed. He is on both parties, so he will be the new board representative from Region 3 at the election. And so the recommendation was to appoint him now to get him running as soon as possible. Do I have a motion to approve him?
Make a motion approved.
We'll give Gary the motion and Dave the second. Any further discussion or comment from the board? Not hearing any. Donna, roll call vote, please.
Joe Balot?
Yes.
Tori Bish?
Yes.
Dave Eggleton?
Yes.
Kathy Henry? Yes. Larry Jamison?
Yes.
Daniel Parker?
Yes.
Gary Sproul?
Yes.
Rebecca Allison? Yes.
Thank you. And Brian, would you come on down? I'll administer the oath of office and you can take a seat over here. Would you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. Thank you. Just remember, if you talk, you have to use the microphone, all right, the yellow. What was that comment, Dave? I thought you were making a comment.
I have the microphone.
I know, like, every meeting I get people telling me, we can't hear you at home, even though everyone can hear you in the room, we can't hear you at home. Item C, the approval of the final budget, as Rebecca and Stephanie both alluded to. You can see the information in your agenda. Do I have a motion to
Make a
approve?
motion to approve. Second.
Dave motion, Joe second. Any discussions, questions, comments? Not hearing any? Roll call vote, please.
Tori Beakner,
Yes.
Dave Eggleton,
Yes.
Kathy Henry. Yes. Brian Hubar,
Yes.
Larry Jameson,
Yes.
Daniel Parker,
Yes.
Gary Sproul,
Yes.
Rebecca Allison. Yes. Joe Valad.
Yes.
Motion passed. Item D, the annual tax levy resolution. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Joe with a motion, Corey with a second. Thank you. Any discussion from the board? Roll call vote, please.
Dave Eggleton,
Yes.
Kathy Henry. Yes. Brian Hubar,
Yes.
Larry Jameson,
Yes.
Daniel Parker,
Yes.
Gary Sproul,
Yes.
Rebecca Allison. Yes. Joe Valad,
Yes.
Tori Beakner.
Yes.
Motion passed. Item E, the 2021 Homestead and Farmstead Exclusion Resolution. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Joe with the motion, Gary with the second. Thank you. Any discussion? Donna, roll call vote, please.
Kathy Henry. Yes. Brian Hubar,
Yes.
Larry Jameson,
Yes.
Daniel Parker,
Yes.
Gary Sproul,
Yes.
Rebecca Allison. Yes. Joe Valad,
Yes.
Tori Beakner,
Yes.
Dave Eggleton.
Yes.
Motion passed. Item F. Let's see. Okay, everyone take a look at your agendas. We're beyond the roll call vote items, so we're items O. I'm sorry, skip. I was on the wrong page. Oh, I'm sorry. F and G. Okay. F is the collection of taxes and installment amounts, and G is to commit a portion of fund balance to the items indicated, F and G. I propose we put those together and vote together on those. Any objection? Okay, not hearing any. Do I have a motion to approve F and G?
So moved. Second.
Okay, that was Joe and Corey, I think, correct? Thank you, Corey. Any further discussion on F and G? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion's passed. Okay, item H, 2.5% annual salary increase for the business manager, Act 93 staff, and central office staff beginning July 1, 2021 for the next school year.
So moved. Second.
That was Joe, I think, with Gary at the second. Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Daniel Parker,
Yes.
Gary Sproul,
Yes.
Rebecca Allison. Yes. Joe Valad,
Yes.
Tori Beakner,
Yes.
Dave Eggleton,
Yes.
Kathy Henry. Yes. Brian Hubar,
Yes.
Larry Jameson.
Yes.
Motion passed. Item I, the approval of Mike Ross as a day-to-day custodian substitute for the existing school year. Is that right, Amy?
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, for the existing school year. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Corey. Corey with the second, Joe with the motion. Any discussion? Donna, roll call, please.
Gary Sproul,
Yes.
Rebecca Allison. Yes. Joe Valad,
Yes.
Tori Beakner,
Yes.
Dave Eggleton,
Yes.
Kathy Henry. Yes. Brian Hubar,
Yes.
Larry Jameson,
Yes.
Daniel Parker.
Yes. Motion passed. Item J. Let's see. Summer custodian hours not to exceed 224 hours each for 2 custodians.
So moved.
Motion. Motion from Joe, is that Kathy? Second. Thank you. Any questions or comments or discussion from the board? Roll call vote, please.
Rebecca Allison? Yes. Joe Valad?
Yes.
Tori Beakner?
Yes.
Dave Eggleton?
Yes.
Kathy Henry? Yes. Ryan Newbar?
Yes.
Larry Jameson?
Yes.
Daniel Parker?
Yes.
Gary Scroll?
Yes.
Motion passed. Item K, additional summer hours for clerks, not to exceed 50 hours at the elementary and 30 at the high school, same as last year.
So moved.
Joe with the motion. Second from Kathy, thank you. Any comments, questions, discussions? Donna, roll call vote, please.
Joe Valad?
Yes.
Tori Beakner?
Yes.
Dave Eggleton?
Yes.
Kathy Henry? Yes. Ryan Newbar?
Yes.
Larry Jameson?
Yes.
Daniel Parker?
Yes.
Gary Scroll?
Yes.
Rebecca Allison? Yes.
Motion passed. Item L, additional summer hours for the school nurses, not to exceed 60 hours, again, same as last year.
Second.
Kathy with the motion, Gary with the second. Thank you. Any discussion, questions? Donna, roll call vote, please.
Tori Beakner?
Yes.
Dave Eggleton?
Yes.
Kathy Henry? Yes. Ryan Newbar?
Yes.
Larry Jameson?
Yes.
Daniel Parker?
Yes.
Gary Scroll?
Yes.
Rebecca Allison? Yes. Joe Valad?
Yes.
Motion passed. Item M, a contract service agreement for Brian Caldwell to install or maintain the bus van video camera at a rate of $25 per hour for the next school year.
So moved.
Joe with the motion. Second from Zach Corey. Thank you. Any discussion or questions from the board? Roll call vote, please.
Dave Eggleton?
Yes.
Kathy Henry? Yes. Ryan Newbar?
Yes.
Larry Jameson?
Yes.
Daniel Parker?
Yes.
Gary Scroll?
Yes.
Rebecca Allison? Yes. Joe Valad?
Yes.
Tori Beakner?
Yes.
Motion passed. Item N, the 2021 to 22 athletic official helper rates. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Kathy motioned, Gary second. Thank you. Any discussion or questions? Roll call vote, please.
Kathy Henry? Yes. Ryan Newbar?
Yes.
Larry Jameson?
Yes.
Daniel Parker?
Yes.
Gary Scroll?
Yes.
Rebecca Allison? Yes. Joe Valad?
Yes.
Tori Beakner?
Yes.
Dave Eggleton?
Yes.
Motion passed. Item O, supplemental contract, $1,371. Stephanie and Seidel as the assistant band front advisor for the next school year, pending receipt of all required documentation. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
That was Joe and Corey with the second. Any questions or discussion from the board? Roll call vote, please.
Ryan Newbar?
Yes.
Larry Jameson?
Yes.
Daniel Parker?
Yes.
Gary Scroll?
Yes.
Rebecca Allison? Yes. Joe Valad?
Yes.
Tori Beakner?
Yes.
Dave Eggleton?
Yes.
Kathy Henry? Yes.
Motion passed. Item P, the 2020, is that right? I mean, is that this year or that's supposed to be next year? Okay, so we're approving, what's that? Okay, so we're approving the final daily rates, transportation rates for this school year.
Second.
Corey was the motion and Gary was the second. Okay, thank you. Any questions or discussion from the board?
I have one question. On the,
Microphone.
Rebecca gets tired of turning that on.
Just leave it on, it's all good.
On the one that says new, is that going to be a new run for next year also, or was that just because of the overcrowding on the buses?
Mafia 11I, is that right?
yes.
was due to the overcrowding, yes, and the pandemic. However, it has turned into be a very positive for other reasons. I honestly have not discussed that with Chris yet, because we haven't gotten to next year.
Was it included in the budget for next year, the new run? Yes, thank you.
Any other discussion, question?
Can I just say,
Only if you use my.
Don't let me use the mic.
I will say the estimate of that run was in the budget. Just covering myself there, Dave.
You like the difference?
I think if you just leave the microphone on, it won't make that loud cracking noise that everyone hears. Well, you're a public official. Just set it down like this. Okay. All right, any further discussion from the board on item P? On a roll call vote, please.
Larry Davidson,
Yes.
Kenyon Parker,
Yes.
Gary Stoll,
Yes.
Rebecca Allison, yes. Bill Delott,
Yes.
Corey Dish,
Yes.
Dan Eggleton,
Yes.
Kathy Henry,
Yes.
Brian Kumar.
Yes.
Motion passed. Item Q. Board members, I just want to call this to your attention. This was something that was just put on recently, so make sure everyone understands. It's approval to use capital fund projects in the amount of $2,800 and change for Johnson Controls Fire Protection LP to upgrade the fire alarm system. So that's something that wasn't on your draft agenda. To bring it to your attention. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion for this. Second.
Gary with the motion, Corey with the second. Thank you. Any further discussion? On a roll call vote, please.
Kenyon Parker,
Yes.
Gary Stoll,
Yes.
Rebecca Allison, yes. Bill Delott,
Yes.
Corey Dish,
Yes.
Dan Eggleton,
Yes.
Kathy Henry, yes. Brian Kumar,
Yes.
Larry Davidson.
Yes.
Motion passed. Item R. Now, this is the same deal too, you guys. Wasn't on the draft one. This is the approval to use capital fund projects in the amount of $20,000 to seal coat the asphalt, line painting, and crack filling at the high school and elementary parking lots. So, motion to approve.
So moved.
So, Joe with the motion, Kathy with the second. Any questions or discussion?
Was this bid out, or how did we come across the price?
Looks like Stephanie's up.
Bob, you can jump in if you need to. This was not bid, it's in under the threshold. The threshold amount is,
Yes. Yes.
What was that question, Dave?
Are they co-star?
Oh, are they co-stars?
He's on. This guy carried off the other two.
no, we have 3 quotes. So the budget threshold is anything over 11,500, you have to have 3 quotes. Anything over 21,300, you have to have a bid.
So is this the lowest bid, or?
This was the lowest bid. 2 amounts were over. One was 27,000, one was 26,000. So Bob reached out to have these quotes, and this quote is $20,000. He reached out to their references, and they had great things to say, correct, Bob?
Yeah, I had 3 or 4 really good references, Dave,
Microphone violation.
Like,
Rick Warner recommended them, and the sheriff from Thompson County recommended them.
you're comfortable with them then?
I think they'll do a good job.
So the sheriff from Plymouth County recommended.
Yes, they do.
And Rick Horner from H&H recommended him, and Bob talked to him.
I think he
So-
did, school district in Dawn visited also.
Penns Manor School District.
I'm familiar with all those. Is Stephanie, you good, and Bob's good?
I was fine that it was within the threshold amount and is the lowest bid.
Sounds good. Anything further? Okay, motion. Okay, we have a motion and a second. On a roll call vote, please.
Gary Scholl,
Yes.
Rebecca Allison. Yes. Joe Lamont,
Yes.
Corey Dish.
Yes.
Dave Eggleton,
Yes.
Kathy Henry. Yes. Brian Moore,
Yes.
Larry Jameson.
Yes.
Daniel Parker.
Yes.
Motion passed. Okay. Now I think I'm to that point I mentioned earlier. S through X. STUWX does not require a roll call vote. So if there's no objection, I'd like to put those together and do a voice vote on those. If someone wants anything pulled out to discuss separately, please take a minute and look through that and let me know. Okay, not hearing any objection, do I have a motion to approve items S through X?
I'll make that motion. Second.
Gary with the motion, Corey with the second, thank you. Any discussion, questions from the board? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion passed. Okay, item Y pertains to a grievance hearing. That was our executive session topic regarding personnel earlier this evening. Is there a motion from any board member to address that grievance at this time?
Make a motion to decline.
Motion to deny the grievance?
Grievance.
Okay, I have a motion to deny the grievance. Do I have a second? I have a second for that motion. Okay, we have a motion to deny the grievance. Is there any further discussion, questions, comments from board members? Okay, I guess we're ready for a roll call vote on that. I'm thinking, Donna, unless Brian has a strong objection, I'm thinking Brian probably shouldn't vote on that since you were.
No, I was planning on staying.
Okay, we won't even call you. Is that okay? Can we do that? Okay. Well, if he has to say, he has to vote for him. Does it make a difference? All right, so we'll still call your name, Brian, you can abstain. Okay, Donna, roll call vote, please, on motion one.
Larry Jameson,
Yes.
Daniel Parker,
Yes.
Gary Scholl,
Yes.
Rebecca Allison. Yes. Joe Lamont,
Yes.
Corey Dish,
Yes.
Dave Eggleton,
Yes.
Kathy Henry. Yes. Brian Moore.
Abstain.
Motion passed. Okay, the last item is item Z. It is not a voting item. It's a vision goal setting discussion. I wanted to put that on here for two reasons. Well, probably more than that, but two big ones. One was to give anyone a chance to, on the board, if there's obviously big picture topics, issues that you want to start the discussion on, have a conversation with the board without having to have a sunshine issue. I want to give you the opportunity to do that. I also want to remind you that this is the time of year when Amy and us as a board, Amy and superintendent, us as a board, are developing our goals for next year. So I thought it would be a good time too to start that, so that if there's things you want Amy to consider, now would be a good time to discuss that and suggest it so that Amy can get those developed and posted. So I want to give you guys a chance to have a conversation.
Nathaniel?
Yes.
I'll happily start the conversation. I think one of the issues that we need to think about going forward with both the elementary and the high school is the fact that we need to be advertising the great things that our students are doing. We need to have our picture in the paper as often as we can. We need to have stories out there as often as we can. I don't know who exactly that would fall under. I would assume probably both the principals. And under them, they may have a designee that is good at something like that. But you know, we've had a lot of things recently that have not been in the public's eye, and that's a shame. So I think that needs to be one of our strong assets. Get our name out, get our students' names out for the wonderful things that they are doing.
I like that comment, and I think that's a great idea. I'd like to also say that I'd like to thank Nathaniel for your leadership on the board in working with the administration. I'd also like to say I've worked on a lot of different fundraisers, and I've never had so much fun even planning a fundraiser as I have as this one. And it all started with the discussion at Walmart parking lot, didn't it, Julie? And I think it's great, and I think it's great how everybody's going to work together and how it's all going to come off. And I just feel like our school district is going in the right direction. We just all got to keep using the oar and going in the right direction. And I want to thank everybody for that.
I like to add something too. For our secondary level, I would like to see our students have less study halls and have more course offerings. I like the idea of what Amy suggested of home ec. I'd like to see even it expanded to more home life skills of basic things of financing, changing the oil and tire, bringing even in guest people over a period to divide it, it'd be a required course. I'd like definitely to expand our music program and more course offerings. I hope that position becomes a full-time position. But I think we have kids that are sitting 3 study halls a day, and they should not be. We should be having more course offerings, higher level course offerings, and I think that should be a goal for us to have in this district. So,
Gary, I think that's a good thing to talk about. My understanding is that we have a lot of courses that don't get selected, that students perhaps hypothetically choose to take study halls instead of taking courses because it's safer for the GPA, and they don't want to take the courses. So it's not an issue of us offering courses, it's a matter of if they don't have to take it, it's not a requirement. So I think we may have to, I agree with your issue. I don't disagree at all. When I hear about, I forget when it came up the school year, about the number of study halls that individual students have, I thought that was crazy. But I don't know that, so I agree with you on that's an issue I think we need to address, but I'm not sure that course offering is maybe the only issue. I think there may be some other way we have to look at it. I don't know, this would be more for the administration because I'm not an educator, but I don't know if it's requirements. But how do you say, no, you can't have 5 study halls? I mean, if they're fulfilling their requirements, you can't make them take a course, right? So I think we'd have to look at requirements.
do we add the number of credits that they would be required?
Right, that's what I'm saying. We'd have to say you have to have more credits, or whether it's a number of credits or courses, we'd have to say you have to take these, otherwise they're not going to take them. We can have 100 course offerings, and I don't think they're going to take them. So maybe that's something, Amy, you could talk with your group and get us some feedback on what that.
One thing, Gary, that you can look at is what Mr. Evans was talking. We are considered one of the ones that have the most credits required to graduate already.
How many?
Mel said that you're saying that as a school, we require more credits than other schools in the area. Is that what you're saying?
Is that from 9th grade up?
Yes.
Well, let's raise it to 26.
You may see graduation rate. We do have some people making 524, we have some 932.
Do electives go into their grade point average?
Yes.
Okay. Stephanie had a great idea. Can we maybe do something like the colleges do, where they can take credit, but it doesn't apply to their GPA? Is that what it's called? No credit? Credit recovery? Oh, credit, no record. Yeah. I'd also like to see with less,
Just thinking that through though, but then, so if you have a kid that says you got one kid that takes 6 study halls senior year because they're in coast mode, and the other kid takes 6 classes and enriches themselves and succeeds and gets A's, and there's no benefit in the GPA, is that really fair to that student that took all the courses? Well, I think that's what we're talking about is the issue of if they have the option now and they're not taking the courses. And so the question would be if we do it pass, fail, or whatever you're talking about, credit.
In college, you have the ability to say, I want to take this credit.
I've never heard that, but
It just means,
Yeah, I think
it just means
you
you
allowed
take,
to.
you want to take a class, but you still get the credits. I mean, that's just an idea that I.
no, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that's the flip side of it, though. You're going to have people that say that they take all these courses.
Daniel, that was for classes that if you wanted it, you think you're really interested in it in the college level, but you're not really sure how well you're going to excel in that class, and so you took the class, and so at least you get credit for like being there. It's not really, it's actually more of a positive than a negative.
So it's more
Students
like an
to,
entry
step
level,
out of their comfort zone.
like an entry level. Hey, if you've never done anything with woodworking and you want to try it, but you don't want to get creamed
Something
in
like that.
GPA.
Yeah, like,
then-
like female doing something maybe that she knows that she can't do. She's just gonna take a chance on taking.
Right, so I think that maybe would make sense for like entry level stuff, that hey, you want to learn about this, we're not going to cream you in the GPA, but if you like it and you want to go to the upper level stuff, you know, maybe you can do it. There.
I think part of the issue may be that students that are near the top of their class are very strategic about the classes they take because you have what word am I looking for? Weighted classes. And so if you're taking a non-weighted class, it can actually, even if you get an A, you can hurt your GPA. So something like a credit no record, something like auditing, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, we sometimes think about that in possibly the wrong way, in that, you know, we've talked all about taking home ec. You know, a lot of people want to see home ec come back. I heartily agree with that. Also, financial literacy. We as a country are not very financially literate. And other than Ms. Pierce, I'm not sure if anybody in here might be able to tell me what time value of money is. But once you figure that out, it's a very cool thing. And teaching that for 9 weeks, teaching something, Corey or Gary were saying about changing the oil, changing a tire, but, you know, basic things like that. Those are real life skills that can happen out there. One other thing, I'll throw something out very crazy for you. Go away from GPAs as far as class rank and go to what colleges do in summa magna cum laude. And then you have students doing things for different reasons. I know that would never go. That's probably right behind consolidating school districts. But anyhow, just a couple thoughts.
I think I agree with what the sentiments are about the classes too. I think also my profession, street law, basic legal, I would volunteer for that. And I know other attorneys do too. I talked to them in the Clarion-Limestone and they said they'd be happy to come in, and I think just to have the kids get that exposure would be beneficial so they don't have to learn the hard way, so to speak.
I think there's a lot of value in the conversation about credit no record. I think of 2 students in the last couple of years that dropped out of classes because earning an A in that class was going to hurt their GPA simply because it wasn't weighted. So I know that happens. It wasn't that they weren't interested in the course. It wasn't that they weren't interested in the content. They wanted to try to figure out a way to even show up every day, just not be graded. So I think there is value in having that conversation. And Mel and I kind of had a little side conversation as well, some things that
One of the things that we thought that we actually brought up, I know Amy and I've talked about it for a couple of years now, is the concept of getting someone, and we try to look at someone certified in cooperative education. Some of you guys have been associated with Clarion-Limestone for years. Mr. Wolf was our last co-op teacher. In the state of PA, if you have a co-op teacher, you can actually give credits for students to be out in the workforce for half the day. And I know there's a lot of money that's coming out now for the schools to offer those programs. And Mr. Evans and I have looked at a few of the things on it. That in theory, what it would do is allow a group of students to be able to get out from CL for half the day, which then would help start to free up some schedules, which then teachers would then have, like I know one of our science teachers has brought up a couple of really great ideas for electives. The problem is with their certification, they're the only ones who can teach those classes, so they almost need, they need to be able to find a way for us to free up students to not be in the building at certain times so that they can teach those other classes. So that would be another thing for us to maybe look at in the future here.
How about a goal too of having more mics up here?
More microphones?
Yes.
There's a bunch behind me, but they don't.
You can have mine.
Well, I'm just saying, if we have one mic for like 8 people.
Yeah, Stephanie said it's not in the budget.
Well, that's the
Stephanie did not say that. I Stephanie did.
I'll say it for you. It's not budgeted.
Oh, it should be on track.
So I have a suggestion. We're talking about education, and I think that's great. I hope this next school year coming up in the fall that there's a lot more simplicity put towards prom and graduation. But I've had a suggestion for the last couple of years, and I'm just going to say it out loud now to everyone, okay? The students put a lot of time and effort into designing the theme for the prom. Can I just say, I think we should leave prom props up after prom is done, and we should have an adult social here, using the props here, and use it as a fundraiser for something fun. Deem it for the next class, whatever, we can always think about that. But they put so much time and effort into those designs, and they did an amazing job this year. I was here, I saw it. And I think that we should use it twofold. We need to add a little fun, not only to the students' lives, but how about the teachers and the parents of the district? So, just a thought.
Will there be an after prom for us?
That's a great idea, Kathy, and that reminds me that Goodwill, our Goodwill bin out here that we do periodically, it's around the winter time, they have offered to allow us to keep that there year-round and be able to collect that money through the year. So just think a little bit. One of the things I was thinking of is maybe each month we earmark it towards something, so that that month that group gets it, this gets it, we know something's coming up, that gets it, because if you say 3rd grade is February, they're all going to get all their stuff and you're going to get a big donation. So that kind of goes along with that, just keeping it going. Going back just a minute to the work, to the what Mel was talking about with cooperative teachers going out in the field. I've always wanted to do a work release. There's more opportunities, especially with our ag program and our welding program, to go out and work part of the day for that and learn, or even a mentorship that they go to, or another word I'm trying to think of is a apprenticeship. That's it. That as well is exciting. And we talk about putting CL in the newspaper. Not only could we do Larry's idea of getting rid of class rank, that would put us in the newspaper. But these kinds of things too would sound great. I'm excited.
Anybody else down there that has a microphone?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Hey, Nathaniel, before you do, let's not call it work release.
Why not, Dave? There's some felony implications. Okay, I didn't want to give short shrift to anybody. Anybody else want to have a comment? Goal setting issue? Go ahead. I'll roll the dice. For the microphone people, Rhonda said, and we did. Amy and I can't remember who was there, but we did talk about trying to keep on communication open because we all seem to be in agreement. No matter what we disagree on, we all are agreeing that a lot of the issues come from or stem from communication. So we're trying to do what we can to be open, and even if we don't agree at the end of the day, we at least know where the other one's coming from, and we're not going off of misunderstandings or innuendos. So we certainly, I think that's definitely for the goal for next year, to try to make some improvements all around on that. Everybody involved, and everyone's got a part in it, board members, teachers, union reps, students, it's everybody. Okay, if no one has anything else, I have a motion from Corey to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second from Gary. All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The meeting is adjourned.